Hello guys, got myself in my camera, which is good. Today I want to talk about homeless issues in Australia or WA, Western Australia. Today I'm walking outside. This is in a park. There's a playground around here. I'll show you guys around. Behind me is a playground. My two children are gonna play there, and I'm gonna make a video talk about homeless issue in Australia, WA. Yeah, in the morning I was playing Tai Chi in Hyde Park, and then what happened is the Tai Chi Tai Chi area we normally kind of reserve that bit of pergola, that pavilion, sorry. And then there was a guy sleeping there with just with some blanket, blanket and some syringe just lying on the floor, and literally just sleeping in the open pavilion. So that was not the first time, to be honest. We've been using the pavilion every Saturday morning for our Tai Chi group, and yeah, every now and then we have homeless people sleeping there. And now it's in June, end of June, and then the weather is extremely cold, I would say, and then they were just literally just sleeping on the floor. Apparently they have some blanket, yeah, just keep warm, very basic, I guess. But yeah, I'm not sure that how many people actually out there sleeping rough, and the person doesn't look very odd. I would say a healthy person, to be honest. And another guy was sitting just like a few meters away from him, sitting there smoking marijuana while we are doing Tai Chi. It was so funny. So yeah, just the area that we were playing Tai Chi, I saw two homeless people, which is quite sad, and if you go to Perth City, oftentimes weekend we go there, and there was so many homeless people. They're just a bunch of them, a group of them, lying there or just begging for money, panhandling, asking for food, a few changes and all that, And some of the places like Leaderville, yeah, it's people just sitting on the floor, on the ground, and begging for money, changes, and just for very basic food, not to even to mention accommodation, So yeah, it's really becoming a bigger issue now, and I don't know how government is addressing this. Will this going to keep going on? Will this become an issue? Like when it become worse, when the high inflation keep going on, and the people, make some mistakes, or they can't afford a mortgage, a normal guy could become homeless, So I think this is only to get worse, with current inflation rate and housing affordability problem. Mass immigration come here, take over a lot of our empty rental housing, and even working families couldn't afford basic housing. So that's exactly what happened in New Zealand, right? People couldn't afford a home, sleeping rough, going to Auckland, walking on the Queen Street, which is busiest street, high street in Auckland City. I remember, business was so good there, when I was there, that was 2013, all the business shops are very, very busy. But now, you know, it's just how many homeless people actually on the street, and then forcing the business owners, the shop owners, to run out of business, you know, because they cause a lot of problem. Yeah, I think I mentioned in my past video, we talk about I was in one of the restaurant, and then it's open restaurant, right, in the Perth city, and then a homeless guy just went in, putting finger up to me, pulling a chair up, you know, smash into my chair, and grab a glass, filling up the water bottle, and smashing the glass onto the floor, and the glass shattered. Oh my goodness. I just feel sad for these kind of people. Some people may get agitated, but I know these people are in a poor health, you know, so I wouldn't want to argue with them, you know, why are you doing this to me, you know, it's just being silly, you know. I'm not a teenager anymore, you know. You try to argue with a homeless person, or have, they not even know what they're doing. So, yeah. I think there's really a lot of problem caused by mental health rather than solely as a result of being poor. A lot of people here are poor, but that's fine. If your mental health is clear and clean and in a healthy state, I don't think that's a huge issue in terms of housing, you know. If you are poor, you can always find a minimum wage, right? Minimum wage paid job, $25 per hour. That's not too bad. You know, you work for 40 hours. That's, I don't know, $1,000 a week. You know, you can easily afford some kind of affordable accommodation for like $200 a week. So that's achievable. Especially if you're like a single person. If you are healthy, you know, if you have a healthy mind, healthy body, you can easily find a job, you know, at least you can put a roof over your head. However, but if you have mental problems and body in a shattered state, you know, it's really hard to get back on your feet, you know. So to ask why we have this kind of homeless issue, I would rather say why we have these mental health issues. That's I think is important, you know, because if you really don't have housing for an extended period of time, for like let's say 2-3 years, you don't have a housing, government will at the end of the day they will find something for you. You know, they're building a lot. Department of Housing, Department of Community, I think they're building a lot of houses, and for those people in need, which is great. You know, we do need to build houses for those people in need. You know, broken families. You know, family violence. You know, yeah, it's definitely this is good for a lot of people. But the thing is, if your mental health have huge problem, you know, has really become problematic. Not necessarily you need to get into a home, but you're just not stable, you know. One day you're okay, the other day you know, you're just not yourself. So yeah, that will be problematic. So I think in order to achieve a better, you know, if you want to get people out of the street voluntarily, I think you have to work on mental health, to be honest. But how are we gonna, you know, work on the mental health, you know, if we already have this much problem? You know, we have a lot of communities, have some government programs working on the mental health issues. A lot of fund, a lot of programs have been putting effort into these kind of mental health issues, you know. However, I don't think this is you can cure this problem from the bottom. I think you gotta work on people's dream. You not necessarily just give them money. You need them to help them to achieve their dream. What kind of dream do people have, right? A normal person, you need to get them on the faith, realize their dream, realize their potentials. So you have something that you work for in your life, and this should be achievable. For example, young people want to buy a house and have a family. You should let this happen. If this doesn't happen, that will become mental health problem. Because as I said, not everyone is like high income earners, $300,000, right, a year, and then you have a dream, buy a house, you can achieve it, but most people couldn't, right? We'll talk about vast majority of Australians, and average wage might be just around 90K or something. So to help those people achieve their dreams, normally people want to have a house, have a family, have children when they grow old, put some clothes on the body, have some food on the table. I think it's basic human needs, and those human needs should be realized and should be satisfied. If they couldn't achieve those basic needs, and then people could go crazy, right? Imagine if you don't have like 2 meals, 3 meals, right, in a row, you kind of get crazy, and you kind of worry about where's your next meal, right? If you are on a diet, that's a completely different story, right? Because if you want to eat, you can. But if you are, you don't have a meal, right, that you can make yourself satisfied, and then you constantly worry where your next meal is going to be. So that are going to be that kind of mental pressure actually drives people crazy, not the hunger itself. I think a lot of people can survive without 3 meals, no worries. But the thing is, those kind of persistent worry in your life that really drive you crazy, drive you out of normal mental health state. Just kick the ball out. So yeah, I would say that'll be something everyone needs to work on. Everyone needs to work on their mental health, myself included. Everyone should be, have a great mental health, have a great mental state, right? You want to be healthy, you want to be ready in your life. And then that's something everyone should work on their life and work on their body, mental, So mental health wise, for human beings, you need to have a healthy body first, right? Because the mind is you need to have a strong root, right? I watch Cobra Kai these days. Miyagi-Do, they say you need to have a strong root, and then the tree can grow tall, right? The bonsais, the Daniel San have bonsais, how they grow bonsai. You need to have a strong root. So similarly, if you want like a mental healthy mind, and you need to have a healthy body, to build it up. A healthy body is your root, and then if you want to later on develop a very healthy mind, a happy soul, it has a lot to do with your body. The body is so important. If your body is out of state, your mind could go crazy very easily. How many people go to the war in Vietnam, they get injured, or they have like permanent disability, then a lot of people go crazy. It's just like, imagine if you lose an arm or lose a leg, and how do you feel? Your body is not 100%. It's not healthy. the blood couldn't flow, right? So the thing is, how you can get normal, how can you be healthy, how can you be like pumped, right? It's not a normal person anymore. So people develop depression and post-war, these kind of syndromes. So yeah, all those things, all those said, I think you need to have a healthy body, to build yourself up, So for me, I put body one of my top priorities, This is just one of the ways to ensure that I have a healthy mind. And then you need to eat healthy, avoid those junk food, right? I used to like Hungry Jack, McDonald's, this kind of give you a lot of energy, right? And then it's just not healthy, Very, very occasionally I eat some of those fast food, but very, very rare. It's only very occasionally. As sometimes you just drive on the highway for a long time and you have nowhere to find any food. So, but most of the time we cook at home. We buy the food, fresh veggies, and then we cook ourselves. But the other thing, as I said, with the inflation goes up, right? The other day I was checking one of blueberries, right? Because we like eating blueberries, A pound of blueberry, 125 grams, right? In IGA selling for $13, $12.99. That's crazy, yeah. 125 gram blueberry selling for $12.99. Well, so if you buy a kg of them, that's literally $100 per kilo for blueberries. So how could people afford, right? If you couldn't afford those healthy food, and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna buy some food that's sub quality, right? You can go to, rather than spend $50 on a blueberry, how about just spend $20 in Hungry Jack, right? And then eat this healthy food alternatives. Those fast food chains, they, in order to cut the production cost, they lower their food qualities, There's nowhere near the food quality 20, 30 years ago, in McDonald's or KFC. I remember when I was a child, KFC quality is pretty good. Yeah, it's actually quite high end, To eating KFC is like is really a eating out, a treat for me when I was little. But now, as the quality is so low, the oil, the additives, the amount of preservatives they're putting in the chicken, it's just ridiculous, And the quality of the chicken is very low. All those ingredients, it's just getting worse. And the flavor is nowhere near to the flavor that we had like 20 years ago. Maybe I grew up, I become picky, But I really would say the flavor changed, the quality is lower. They try to find cheaper alternatives as much as they could. So, yeah. Anyhow, I would try my very best to avoid those fast food, and I'll eat as healthy food. Sometimes you go to the spa shed, you buy those fresh veggies, at a very affordable price. For example, $2 for a bundle of what's that called, pok choy or pak choy, tomatoes, kumaras, what they call it, sweet potato here, $3 per kilo, which is really good. Those food, at least, right, they have no preservatives. Well, human beings can only consume certain amount of preservatives, and you shouldn't have that much because they cause cancer. So always eating healthy and exercise, of course. The exercise definitely give you the excitement in the body, give you the dopamine that you need, which is really good. When I exercise, go to gym, or it just do some very basic Tai Chi. I did it in the morning, in a group, I feel great, you know. It's, in a group, you improve your skills, and it's really, really helpful, you know, in terms of your body health. I'm not a scientist or a specialist in medicals or whatsoever, but I do know, you know, you eating healthy food, right, it's good for you. You exercise, it's good for you. I think it's common sense for anyone to understand. So if you don't do those things, right, and then you eat junk food, sitting in front of a computer all day, not going out, socialize, and you get isolated all the time, certainly you will have problems. Certainly one day the train will derail, right? And before you even realize, things could go wrong very quickly, you know. And I slept in the car for a month, you know, so I completely understand, you know, what kind of that feeling's like, and how life can turn around so quickly, you know. One day you are living in a house, having a car. Second day